Our today topic is matrices and determinants. Today we learn matrices and determinants. First we know that need to know that what is basically a matrix is and determinants. Let's start the introduction of a matrix. The concept of matrices is a highly useful tool which is not only used in mathematics but also in the branches of sciences, engineering and other businesses world. Nowadays, matrices and matrix methods have widespread application in the operation of high-speed computers. So we know what a matrix is. Definition of matrix: a rectangular array of numbers enclosed in a large square bracket. Number enclosed in a large square brackets or parentheses is known as matrix. Very simple method we used in this lecture to know the different kinds of matrices. After solving the matrices, we need to know the basic introduction of matrix. Parenthesis. That is, if we write different numbers in a square brackets, for example A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, A23. The first number shows the rows and the second one shows the column. A31, A32 and A33. In this matrix 3 cross 3, this means 3 cross 3 that we have 3 rows, that is row 1, that is row 2 and R3, and this one is C1, column 1, column 2 and followed by the column 3, C3. Very simple method. And after introduction we need to know the order of matrix. Order of a matrix, which is very important in solving matrices. The number of rows followed by the number of columns is the order of a matrix. For example, if we have a matrix A is equal to 5, 6, 8, 3, 2, 4, 9, 6, 3. In this matrix we have 3 rows, which is one row, the second one row, and this is the third one row. This means that we have 3 rows cross. How much columns are there? Which is column 1, this is column 2, and this is column 3. It means that we have a matrix with order of 3 cross 3. R1, R2 and R3. Same case C1, C2 and C3. This is simply the order of a matrix. After order of matrix, we need to know what is in equal matrix. If we have a number of rows is equal to the number of columns, then this matrix is called equal matrix. For example, we have a matrix A is equal to 2, 4, 5 and 6. In this matrix we generally denote the matrix order is m cross n. So in this case the number of rows is one row and the second one row. So m is 2 cross number of columns is also 2. So in this matrix we have number of rows is equal to the number of columns, which is 2 cross 2. This means that this matrix is equal matrix. Very simple method. If the number of rows is equal to the number of columns, then the matrix is called equal matrix. And in equal matrix we have further two types: row matrix or row vector. Row matrix or row vector. In this form we have only one row. For example, let we have a matrix which is composed of simply one row, which is A11, A12, A13 up to A1n. The first digit shows that this is the first row and the second is the first column. But we forget the number of columns in row matrix. We only note the number of rows. So in this matrix we have only one row. This is called row matrix. We have another type of equal matrix called column matrix or column vector. Like row matrix, in which we have one row, in column matrix we have only one column. For example, we have a matrix A11, A21, A31. This shows that we have only one column, which is called column matrix. After learning of square matrices, we have a special matrix called rectangular matrix. What is rectangular matrix? In rectangular matrix, if the number of rows and columns of a matrix are not equal, which means that the number of m is not equal to the number of n, then the matrix is called a rectangular matrix. Number of rows, which is m, is not equal to the number of columns, is n, which means that m is not equal to the number of n. M means number of rows, n is the number of column. If both are unequal, this is called rectangular matrix. For example, if we have a matrix A, which is composed of A11, A12, A13, A21, A22, and A23. This means that we have only two rows, one row and the second row. The order of a matrix is 2 cross. We have 3 columns, the first column, the second column, and third column, 2 cross 3. This means that number of rows is not equal to the number of columns. It's called rectangular matrix. After rectangular matrix, we have a square matrix. If the number of rows and number of columns of a matrix are equal, number of rows m is equal to number of columns. Which means that m equal to n. This matrix is called square matrix. For example, we have a matrix A11, A12, and A13. Same is the case in this row, A21, A22, and A23, A31, A32, A33. This means that we have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3. So the order of a matrix is 3 cross and 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3. This means that the number of rows and number of columns are equal, which means this is a square matrix. Another type of matrix is a diagonal matrix. Diagonal of a matrix. What is mean by diagonal? A square matrix of order n with 0 elements everywhere except at least one non-zero element in the principal diagonal is known as diagonal of a matrix. For example, if we have a matrix, let A is equal to we have A11 and followed by 0, 0, 0 and A22, 0, 0, A33. If these digits are non-zero, So this is called diagonal of a matrix, where A11, A22 and A33 not equal to 0. This is called diagonal of a matrix. Or in other words, if we have a matrix, for example, in this matrix we have different digits 1 0 0 0 3 0 0 0 5. These diagonal values are non-zero, so this is called diagonal of a matrix. Diagonal matrix. We will solve each matrix with the proper example after knowing the introduction of each matrix. Then another type of matrix is identity or unit matrix. Identity matrix or unit matrix. An identity matrix, a square matrix of order n having unit one's element on the principal diagonal and all other elements are 0. For example, if we have a matrix A in diagonal, all the elements are 1 followed by 0. The diagonal values are 1, which means identity. We will solve proper examples in another lecture. These are the basics of matrices. In this lecture we know the proper introduction of all type of matrices. We will solve with proper examples in next lecture.